everyone, welcome to the final graduations for OLS-7. That is the 7th cohort of the program, which has recently been renamed Open Seeds, designed to work with beautiful, talented, amazing people like you to implement open science and open research concepts so that you can share them with the rest of the world and share your work with the rest of the world responsibly. So today we have 8 groups to graduate in between 60 to 90 minutes. We're streaming live on YouTube right now, unless you're watching this recorded later, of course. And I think we're going to dive into it. So folks, try to spend about 5 minutes. If you run over a tiny bit, we'll still forgive you. But with 8 groups, if everyone runs over, we will end up being at the graduation for 7 hours, which might be too long. So I will try and remind people if we start running over too much. And I may at some points, if we get to the 5 minutes, I'll interrupt and just say, hey, can you please wrap up to make sure that we have time for everyone else. With that, is there any questions or shall we go straight ahead? I'm going to assume there's no questions. So first person on our graduation list is the group with Emmanuel, Sheon, and tell me if I've got this right, Ayomide, is that right?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Take it away, your time starts now.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Am I permitted to share my screen?
Is it letting you?
I said, am I permitted to share my screen?
Yeah, go for it,
Okay, all right. Okay, so is my screen visible? Can you see my screen?
Perfectly. Yeah, do you want to put it on present mode?
Okay, thank you. So, thank you very much. So, my name is Sheon Olufemi, and I'll be talking on bioinformatics at Street Nigeria. This is an OLS-7 final presentation. So currently I'm serving as a teaching and research assistant at Elix Biogen Institute, Ogbomoso, Nigeria. So yeah, my team member. So the team was actually led by Emmanuel Adamolekun. Yeah, and I'm here as part of the team member, and as well as have Emmanuel Ayomide. Also, then our mentor, Dr. Landy from Kenya. So bioinformatics is an emerging field of open science which aims to manage data, analyze data from biological experiments. And this field contains different aspects of sciences. We have the biological sciences, mathematics, physics, life sciences in general, and then a bit of statistics. But sadly, as this wave is moving around, and trending, bringing much impact to people, much has not been accomplished in Nigeria. So what then is the problem, and how do we intend to solve this problem? So we eventually used a data-driven approach to solving the problem, and then this tries to shows the roadmap whereby we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then phase 4. So in the phase 1, what we want to do is that we want to assess the existing bioinformatics training and education. And in phase 2, what we want to do is understand the underlying weaknesses that have happened and try to promote open science to it via data sharing, via preprint submission, and also community engagement. In phase 3, we want to, based on our data, we want to develop an inclusive curriculum which will cater for all these underlying weaknesses in the current bioinformatics training and education in the country. While at the phase 4, what we're going to be doing is that we are going to be organizing both an online and an offline workshop training and mentorship to assist students and our participants, and also provide support to them in order to be able to fully harness bioinformatics in Nigeria. So what do we do during this project entirely? So what we did is we tried to create a survey to, in our first phase, we tried to create a survey to assess the current trends and the impact of bioinformatics training in Nigeria. And we asked several questions on demography, level of education, course of study, the knowledge of the technical know-how, and the recommendations we're able to give, and recommendations so that we'll be able to improve the scope of learning. So as at time of preparing this slide, we have 212 respondents to our survey. And I think this morning when I checked, we already have about 220 something plus which has responded to the survey. However, this data is relatively low, but this could actually serve as a pilot study to mirror the image or the trends in bioinformatics in Nigeria. So these are some of our key findings. About 50% of our respondents says that bioinformatics is somewhat difficult. And we also asked them questions on the type of training and support they want. Over 59% of them claim that they needed more intensive workshop. So this particular graph here shows the major challenges they have been facing. About Okay, let me just bring this down. Let me see if I can take it up. All right. So this particular graph shows that 24.5% haven't used any bioinformatics tool at all. That shows that the awareness of bioinformatics among life scientists in Nigeria is relatively poor, and about 23% shows that if they are even aware, do not have the necessary training or the technical knowledge know-how.
Sean, just so you know, we have about 30 seconds. If you
Okay.
can
Okay.
thanks.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so how do we now intend to promote open science with this? At first, we want to promote open science by data sharing via our GitHub page. So all the data and our analysis will be deposited in our GitHub. So here's the GitHub page. We have our README, our license and code of conduct there. And also want to also promote open science by trying to write an article and thereby publishing our findings on our preprint so that it will be accessible. This is also in progress. And we also promoted open science by open community engagement via our collaborations with these following institutions. And what's next? What do we plan to do next after this particular cohort? We want to organize a curriculum based so that our people will be able to have access to training 2 weeks online for about 60 people and 6 weeks offline with full intensive training, and we'll be needing more funding to accomplish this feat. And then finally, we acknowledge Open Life Science, Open Seed Mentoring and Training Program for giving us this privilege, this particular organization, and our mentor, Dr. Michael Landy, for putting us through this process. So thank you for listening. Um, Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for listening. Here's a pictorial representative of some places in Nigeria. So all the pictures here are some places in Nigeria. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Sean. So everyone, can we have a round of virtual applause? Clap those hands, sparkle those hands, do the amazing rock concert cheers, but not into the microphone because our ears will be sad. And this is really cool. Can I just say, 212 responses. Wow! That is actually an incredible sample. I cannot wait to see what you do with this data. I'm really looking forward to seeing that preprint. Folks, if we have any questions, you can add them in on line 58. I will pause for a moment just to see if anyone else has a question or a comment they'd like to make. If not, I have one. Okay, I enabled the crickets mode. Oh, Emmanuel, take it away.
Yeah, good day, everyone. I want to thank Shimon for standing in gap for my team. We want to say thank you to Open Life Science for giving us the opportunity. In addition to what Shimon has said, it's quite a good project, and we are open to collaborations and funding. And I want to say Open Life Science has really served as a platform for myself to grow. I want to thank you, Dr. Yu, and thank everyone who had contributed to the success of our project. It's still in progress. And like Elia said, we are really open to more collaboration and funding. Thank you.
I thoroughly approve of a strong call to action. Emmanuel, if you have ways to get in contact with you regarding that call to action, can you put them in the Etherpad, just so that there's some links for people to follow up and click on if they want to explore more or contact you?
Okay, we will do that. Thank you.
Super. Okay, I am going to move on, I think, folks. So our next presenter, Bear, are you ready?
I think I am. I'll try to share the screen now. And you should be able to see it, right?
Looks perfect. You've got 5 minutes. They start now.
All right. Then thank you very much. So my project was called Imaging Scientific Ambassador Program. The mentor was Joyce Cao, and I was super happy with her. So I'm going to present a bit what the work that we were doing in this particular project. First, a couple of words about Imaging. So this is an European research infrastructure that provides open access to imaging facilities and technologies in general. So what this means in practice is basically that when a researcher wants to do some particular analysis or use some particular microscope that is not in their facility, they could apply through Imaging and go to a different node and then use the microscope in there, and sometimes even get funding for it. You can see here in the map, there are many countries involved and also plenty of facilities. The portfolio of technologies is also quite broad, so we have more than 100, and they range from the atomic force microscopy to human imaging, passing by all the different microorganisms, cells, and so on. So as you can imagine with this, there are plenty of expertise here on different aspects, and we have some people already in the community that talk about the opportunities that Imaging can offer, and that's what we call informal ambassadors. So the definition of an ambassador here would be someone that takes more responsibility in the organization than in principle is expected. And that's what we wanted to foster. So on one side would be to reward the informal ambassador already doing this, but also encourage new leads to emerge. And the whole point of the program would be to raise awareness about the different infrastructure that are available for people, and also the different opportunities, and increase the number of users that we have. One thing that I wanted to say here is that even when I was the mentee, I had a group of people from Imaging in different sites. So we have the hub, it's distributed in three different places. In Italy, we have Erika and Feria. This is the medical side. We have the bio side. This is Johanna, Asta, and Mariana in Germany. And there is Camilo from the statutory seat in Finland. So all these people were giving me input, also because I'm new to the organization, less than 1 year working here. And so they were all helping me with what they think can work and maybe doesn't work at all. So more or less a project was structured as you can see here. So we have the preparatory phase, is what we wanted to prepare within OpenSeeds. And I will talk a bit more about the community analysis and analyzing how is the different personas in the community and so on. Then we will go to the launching phase, in which we will need to have some supporting material for those ambassadors and how to onboard them and so on. We also have a selection phase. In that particular case, we need to have a selection panel that has to be also quite fair with the selection. Running phase would be 6 months in total. I will give more details about this later, but it will be in total 6 months of with 1 month of training. And then there will be the offboarding phase, in which the ambassadors will be really recognized for the work that they've been doing. So first thing was to analyze what is the need and who would be the target ambassador, and analyze a bit the different personas that we have in total. And we were looking here to different parameters, what would be in which stage of their career they are, but also in which, how much they know UI imaging. So are they already users? Do they already have some experience? Or do they know anything at all about UI imaging? And we identified different profiles here. So the people in the facilities, they're really knowledgeable about UI imaging, but they're also users and imaging technology developers and also industry. So our ambassadors ideally would be people that have already experience with UI imaging, being users or not necessarily users, but that could be a plus. And also people that are working already in the facilities. That would be ideas for potential ambassadors. Now, the next question was, who do we want these ambassadors to reach to? And that's the audience that we think we are not reaching at the moment. So that would be people that don't know much about UI imaging, that are maybe in industry or technology developers or at different career stages or the society in general. So the scope here can go really broad. What we wanted to have about this program, it's a communication in both sides with the UI imaging hub and the ambassador. So this will serve as the interface with the UI imaging potential users. So in principle, UI imaging would be supporting, empowering, and understanding what these ambassadors are needing. And also they will bring to UI imaging the voice of these people that can be potential users, or they're part of the local communities. And also we want to provide them the opportunity to network between each other. So that's also something that we need to take care of during the program. We suggest different activities here. So it could go from traveling to a conference or presenting there, developing training materials.
30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Wrap it up, we'll be good. If you need a bit longer, but not too much.
Yes, okay. So just different activities that they could do, but we want to basically reflect here the point of view from people on different local communities and give them a voice. And we also don't want to be very strict about the activities. We also want to leave this open for them to do something that is motivating for them or good for their career. We already have an idea of how the program is going to be working. So we target early career researchers, but not necessarily only them, so anyone else could apply. We want to have a small number of ambassadors, less than 10 ideally. And also the duration, I already said, is 6 months, so more or less March to September, because it's the high season for conferences. We are preparing already for the launch. We have a website ready, but it's not online yet, but we have all the description of the program. And that's what we've been doing over this timing in OpenSeeds. We may get some potential support from Horizon Europe grants in the coming months. And we are planning really to launch it in the 29th of September. There is a virtual pub. This is the community call of UI imaging, and people present their work there and so on. And we are going to present this program there. And as I said, it will be running in March 2024, ideally with some training a month before in February. And that's it. I would like to thank you for your attention, also to Joyce for very valuable inputs, and the people in UI imaging that were working together with me in this. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, everyone. Can we have a huge round of applause for Bear? I cannot wait to see this being launched. And can I just say, your imagery, your slides, oh, beautiful. I just like, there's some serious graphic design going on there.
Yes, we have a graphic designer, this I have to say.
Well, tell them I think they're awesome. Like when you were visualizing the sort of community sketch and all the different people and where they'd come from, you managed to include so much information in like one graph, and yet it was still comprehensible. And that is a skill. Hello, kitty cat.
Yeah, that required a lot of discussion in the team.
I'm not surprised. Folks, do we have any questions? I have a kitty cat who's making it hard for me to see. Of course you are, darling. No, you got to wait. I think it's closed my Firefox. Let's see if I can recover. I've recovered. Okay, no, stop walking, darling. We're only on a live stream. Okay, yeah, no questions in the Etherpad, but if anyone else has any questions or comments coming in, please do add those in the Etherpad and then we'll reply to them as things are going on. Or if anyone wants to ask a question now, please do. Okay, I will follow up with one question that I have then. What size do you think the cohorts or your first set of ambassadors is like? How many are you likely to have, or how many would you like to have?
So we said that we would like to have less than 10 to make it manageable. Also, we would like to have this as a pilot for the first one, right? We don't know how, it's the first time. So we need to see how, maybe you have experience in that and you can tell me actually.
Yeah, I think we made some decision not to put not to take more than between 30 to 40 people, like projects in a cohort, because like you say, there is a point when it's just like we are going to lose quality if we focus on quantity, but quality is very, very important to us and we don't want to be dropping stuff. As Paz notes, we can ask more questions at the end. So one more round of applause for Bear and we'll move on to our next speaker.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. So next up, Nikki, are you ready?
Yeah, can you see that?
We can. Do you want to share?
Cool. Oh, I thought I was sharing. Can you see that?
So you're sharing. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there we go. Exactly that. Perfect.
Cool. Thanks very much. All right. So hi everyone. I'm Nikki. I'm presenting an OLS project called Echinopsis, and I was mentored by Andrea. So thanks to her for all her advice during the cohort. Echinopsis is a tool for botanists to work with specimens. So I'm just going to give a real quick background to botany very quickly. It's one of the world's oldest sciences. I could give you a load of facts and figures about botany, but we've only got a very short amount of time here. So I'm just going to talk about some accidental attributes that botany has, which make it a really interesting place to work in informatics like I do, and also work with open science principles. Fundamentally, I'd say plants can't run away. So that means they're really easy to use as a teaching aid. So like in this photo here, this could be an extremely rare plant that's only represented by very few individuals in the wild. But you can take a group of students there and you can discuss the characteristics that you use to identify it. So that attribute of botany means that as a science, it's built up a real culture of collaboration and sharing and mentorship. And that's what's always been attractive to me as a place to work there. When we store plant specimens, we press them flat, and that's also a really useful attribute. So historically, plant specimens have always been very easy to share. So botanists would package them up just in a flat box and post them out to their colleagues so that they could identify them. So there was basically physical data sharing in the age of posting specimens around. And in today's world, we can digitize them really easily because they're flat and they don't shed shadows. So at Kew, we're digitising our specimen collection of around 9 million specimens, making images of all of those and sharing them as open data. Finally, we mount specimens on paper, and that means they're really easy to compare if you've got physical access to the specimens, because you can lay out all the specimens and look at them next to each other. But also you can annotate them, and anyone can annotate specimens, not just the person that collected them. So we've got a history of how specimens have been used over time. So there's some great things about botany, but as you might imagine, there are some downsides too. Resource distribution is really, really unequal. So specimens are stored in the north due to colonial reasons, and the maximum biodiversity is in the tropical hotspots of the global south. So trying to move our activities online is really important for data access and sharing and equity. So if you work in botany in the digital age, you need to get hold of a whole wide range of information resources. And around 20 years ago, we started these experiments in what we called e-taxonomy. Taxonomy is the science of naming plants and other organisms. Obviously, concurrent with the advances that we made then has been the open science movement, which has made many more general advances in things like citation management and collaborative working practices and so on. And we still find that tools to access and navigate specialised resources are a bit of an issue. So the OLS project that I worked on during the cohort time was to build a system where people could more easily access digital resources that they needed to do their research. So we built on existing software. That's the note-taking software Obsidian, because it seems to fit quite well with open science working practices. The back end is simply markdown files. So if people have to learn something, they're learning how to create data in markdown, which seems quite a transferable skill into other open science working practices. And we wrote some plugins to access different kinds of data like specimens, names, and taxonomies. Researchers can use this tool to explore links, create links, explore the data spatially, look at network visualizations, crucially to cite specimens in new work. There's a lot of hidden work that goes on in botany and people don't necessarily get well credited for it. And if we can make it easier to cite specimens, we can make it easier to surface the amount of work that people are doing that is up till now kind of hidden. So there's, we built a project where people can kind of develop their own practices and learn about open science working practices too. Whilst I applied to the OLS cohort, at the same time applied to a Open Science Prize run by the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. So we'd set up the project website and so on kind of before OLS. So we did quite a bit of revision of the resources during the cohort. We presented at lots of different meetings with different audiences. So from botanical researchers to people who want to use the data for machine learning, people who work in digital libraries, publishers, actual physical collection curators. And we modified the open canvas that's such a big bit of the project design in OLS, so that we could tailor the way we were talking about the project to these different audiences. So I've got a link at the end that shows how we modified that. So yeah, we made really extensive use of open canvas during the project. I will say I put also my GitHub commit profile in the bottom there, and I think I've gone from rather unhealthy, bursty bits of work to a more even kind of stream of work there. So I think that's been helpful with OLS too. By kind of spreading the load and having a bigger amount of people involved in the project has been really helpful. So where next? We're a component of 3 funding applications at the moment. One for core Echinopsis, like I've described here. One with some colleagues as a component of an open taxonomic toolkit. So this is working in concert with DNA-based approaches. And one is much more speculative and trying to use it as an exemplar in understanding what we'd need to affect an organisation transition to open science. And the links with OLS and the Turing Way have been really, really useful here. So yeah, it's a bit speculative, but well, I'll hope for your help with that kind of thing. We've got a slot to speak at a conference in October, and really going to, rather than talk about the tool itself, we're going to talk about how OLS has helped us. So an expansion of the talk that you've just heard here, and hopefully that'll be well placed to bring people in that might apply for OLS-9. And we're working with a couple of e-taxonomic projects that exist already to maximise interoperability. So to conclude, I'd say that thanks to OLS, then we could say that e-taxonomy lives as open science. And I really want to say thank you to my mentor, Andrea, and my project partner at Q, Eve. They've both been great sources of advice, has been everyone in the OLS group. I've benefited hugely from the advice and support that everyone's given me, and I really hope that I can pay that forward as we continue. Thank you very much for making me be part of your community. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Everyone, can we have a round of applause for Nikki? And I just realized I wasn't doing it. I was like waiting to see everyone else. Wait, no, where's my claps? There we go. I've got some claps. I need to find new words every time to say how excited I am to see every single one, and I don't want to sound like I'm just using the same cookie cutter response, but whoa, I loved especially seeing that GitHub graph where I could see like going towards burnout, and then there's like a December break, And then it's like, oh, there's no weekend work anymore. Look at that. It was great. I wholeheartedly approve of being gentle to ourselves. The way my therapist always told me is put your own oxygen mask on the plane before you put anyone else's on. And so if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else either. So that was such a good thing to see. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.
And we have a question and another comment. So two people saying really appreciated the colonial north-south perspective as well as the botany history lesson. And the conference in October, is it open and or can we see that presentation?
Yeah, I'll definitely share it. It's a hybrid conference. It's in Tasmania, so it's too far for me. Too far for me to go, I think. So I'll be presenting probably in the middle of the night.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'll definitely share a recording if I'll drop the link in the chat if I can find it.
Super. If you want us to get any OLS swag or anything to give out when you're doing that talk, just let us know and we'll get you stickers or cards or poster, anything like that.
Cool. Thank you.
Super. Okay, final round of applause for Nikki and we'll move on to our next presentation. See, I'm a riot at a rock concert. I will scream until I have no voice. And I'm just restraining myself right now from not just going, whoa, into the microphone. Okay. I'm also too short at rock concerts and I cannot see anything. I'm just staring at everyone's shoulders, which is terrible. All right, less about that, more about next presenter if I scroll up. And Paz, can you share Diana's presentation, please? This one's over to you. Put your Diana mask on.
All right, let me do this. I guess, yeah. You see?
Looking good.
Okay,
Should be able to hear anything.
Press. You cannot hear?
We'll play. I'll let you know if we can't.
To introduce my OLS project.
Okay, I'll play it again.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today to introduce my OLS project, Data Management Materials for Estonia. My name is Diana Pilvar, and I'm from a small country in Europe, Estonia. Our population is about 1.3 million people. So there is probably less people in my whole country than in your respective capitals. Professionally, my background is in genetic engineering and bioinformatics. Now, I use that experience to teach researchers about good data management and sensitive data handling practices. On a professional level, I'm also mother of 2 small kids, and my favorite hobby is to read books. As someone already conducting data management and FAIR courses, I recognize the need for additional offline data management materials, specifically designed for individuals who are unable to attend courses due to busy schedules. These materials would be tailored for the University of Tartu and Estonia, highlighting local resources and regulations. From OLS, I expected feedback on best approaches for educational material creation, tips that would make my life as a data steward easier, and to learn some leadership skills. OLS checked all of my expectations. So my overly ambitious goals were as follows: define scope of materials, create a FAIR principles page. And for those who don't know what FAIR is, it is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. I also wanted to create a data management plan related page. And for personal skills, I wanted to attend all OLS-7 calls, read about data stewardship from a book, and strengthen interpersonal skills like better communication and collaboration. I naturally expected things would be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Reality was more like stressed, depressed lemon zest due to totally overbooking myself this year and doing overtime every day, and that included weekends. So the tempo eased off in May, but I was completely burned out. So in total, I did manage to define scope of materials and start the FAIR page, but I never made it to data management page. Personal skills development went way better. I attended or watched on YouTube all OLS-7 calls during OLS and attended Train the Trainer event hosted by Elixir Goblet that gave me tremendous insight in creating educational materials. I also attended a course in dealing with difficult personality that taught me strategies to cope with people who have way too much personality. Surprisingly, I achieved a lot more outside of goals. Before OLS, I never used Git, but thanks to you, I finally got the motivation and the burning need to actually learn it. I am now a competent user of Git. There were two OLS experts that helped me in my journey, Esther and Emma. They gave me invaluable insight into their daily challenges, successes, and strategies to make my job easier. So key takeaways from our conversations were that I should make a data management template with ready-made answers for scientists so it would be easier to use for them, advertise my courses more, and make courses in Estonian, not just English. So next steps would be to actually finish my FAIR page and maybe make an extra page with information about data management documents in the European Union and Estonia. And I would just be linking to those documents, but there's many of them. I would also want to help project code reproducibility, where I could review training material for Git, as I just recently learned, and I know exactly how painful it can be. So I can give them recommendations. In fall, I want to create a data management template for my university. And in long term, I would like to create data steward community in Estonia, but that would be a future OLS project. And I will definitely continue to lurk and stalk in OLS and during by Slack. I would like to thank my mentor, Patricia, who has been a tremendous help. She's an expert in FAIR, has been a data management trainer herself and knows all the pain points and is involved in many projects that are relevant to me. She's an absolute wonder woman. I would also like to thank the people who make amazing things possible, but I would not call you the directors. I would call you the Wonder Woman family. Thank you all for taking me into this project and listening. Bye.
I love it so much. And I want to talk to Diana, but she's not here. All right, folks, do those amazing claps. Oh, I think I smiled and laughed loads of times through that, but it was also so insightful and exciting to see all of the updates and the things she's learned, especially on the tail of your presentation, Nikki, where we were just talking about managing the work-life balance, and then straight to the next one saying, yeah, what is that? Oh dear. All right, folks, if you have questions or comments, we can relay them to Diana later. In the meantime, let's move on to our next presenter. Javsia's team, who's presenting? Just checking, Javsia, Stefan, can either of you hear us?
Yes, okay, thank you so much. We are sharing our screen.
Cool, cool.
Okay, can you see our screen?
It looks good. Do you want to put it on the presenter mode?
Okay, thank you so much. Our project is from invisible to citizens, I2C, apparent age for primary school children without birth certificates. Our team is made of me, Javsia, Stefan Vadanka, Yannick Japon, Ketmala, Nathaniel. Our mentor is Dr. Judet. This project, in our understanding, we wanted to tackle the problem from the angle of data science. But after discussion with the mentor, it was obvious that before relying on quantitative elements, it was above all a problem, a social problem. So a problem concern in no way responsible. So what we found is that the problem is an asymmetry of information between local administration and municipalities. So for this presentation, particularly I will introduce. That's what I did now. I will present the solution and the roadmap of the project. Stefan will take you through our OLS experience, and Nathaniel will conclude. And then Hilary will present the problem. So the mic is up to Hilary to present the problem in the next slide.
Hilary, should we be able to hear you? I can only hear you very, very quietly, Hilary.
I think I'm speaking as loud
Oh,
as
we can hear you now. That's better. That's better.
As I said, in Cameroon, approximately 1.7 million children, or 66%, do not have a birth certificate. These children are said to be invisible. In other words, they live without being recognized by the country whose citizenship they claim. According to a study carried out by UNICEF, 40,000 children in the far north region alone will find it difficult to present their end-of-year first school leaving certificate for lack of birth certificate. To establish this birth certificate, it will be necessary to make an estimate of their apparent age in a complex process which discourages parents. It is evident that determination of apparent age should not only be seen from a clinical standpoint. Instead, social, cultural, and environment factors must also be taken into account. To remedy this situation, which has reached the alert level, it is urgent to propose a simplified and open system for determining apparent age to turn invisible kids to visible one based on available data and machine learning techniques. The aim of this project is to develop a solution that will reduce the birth certificate delivery process. So, as I just read right now, we have a lot of issues with those birth certificates, and to remedy, I'm going to give the line to Mr. Jafsia for him to present the solution we want to create. Hello? Hello?
Jafsia? There we go.
Okay. So we propose a simplified system for determining apparent age that will help us turn those invisible kids visible ones based on available data and improve local knowledge. Why a simplified system? Because the actual system is very, very complex. When you start, a kid without a birth certificate, we start in the local municipality where his parents lives. After the municipality, the process will take him to the court. After the court, the parents will go to the hospital, and after the hospital, come back to the municipality, and sometimes it's not evident that they will be granted that birth certificate. And one of the drawback of this complex system is the fact that there are lots of fake birth certificates that will come. So there are lots of people that are selling the fake birth certificates to parents, and this will lead to lots of problems when it will come to maybe deliver ID cards. People double, triple identities in the system of delivering the ID cards. So to have this solution, our roadmap, we have designed a roadmap. We started with documentation during this process. We have done the documentation. We did a lot of discussions too with communities. With the help of our mentor, we were able to have discussion with NGOs, engage with community on issue related to birth certificates. Because we have organization working on that issue. Then we will centralize all the data collected by the team. After centralizing the data, we'll move to the stage of data analysis. And after analysis, we'll have to propose the efficient process of birth certificate delivery. And then at the end of the process, we'll have to test our new process if the process is more efficient than the existing one. So our OLS experience, during our OLS experience, we have to meet with communities to collect data. And meeting with collectivities in rural area is very difficult, particularly because most of the time you will need a translator because they don't speak French, they don't speak English, which are our official languages in Cameroon. So, even with a translator, it is not quite, we are not quite sure that it's exactly what the person said. And we went through a major difficulty with the NGOs on the field because most of the time, the data they are collected them from their founders. Problem, you would maybe collect data twice, while another NGO has already collected the data. So that was another difficulty. So, and I think what we learned during that experience was persevere to collect your data, even if you know that some people already have the data and they don't want to share them with you. During our experience to handle open source project management, document our work, sensing what we are doing, create a Git and GitHub, using Git and GitHub and create a README file for our project code, a code of conduct, community guideline, and how to contribute for our project in our GitHub repository. Some of the challenges were getting flexible time slots with. Thank you. It was Dr. Colom was quite comprehensive, and we went through all those difficulties, and we were able to handle them. There were logistic issues. As you know, we don't have stable internet and meeting tools. Thank you for the OLS movement programs that help us a lot. And OLS was an amazing showcase of how open science could be done. For the last slide, I will hand the mic to Nathaniel to thank the OLS team. Nathaniel, over to you.
Nathaniel, just checking you can hear. Nathaniel, checking if you can hear us just to wrap up the presentation. If you're speaking, I don't think we hear it.
Yeah.
Ah, there you
Yes.
are. Yay.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I would just thank OS program for this program. Now, Jeff has told all that we are doing since moment. And now for me, I just thank you for all. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Can we have a round of applause for everyone for that presentation? I was really amazed. I wouldn't have guessed that as much as 2/3 of children don't end up being registered. That's genuinely really shocking. And it's great that you all have been working to figure out what we can do about this. I think I'm going to drop a question in the Etherpad, but because of the internet issues, this presentation was a little bit long. You're invisible, Richard. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I think we need to move on to our next presentation. So one final round of applause for the fantastic team. It was really nice to see multiple people presenting for the same part of for the same project. And who's next? Let's see. Prem, it's your team. Are you ready?
Yeah, yo. This is Nishant from Prem's team.
Fantastic. Take it away.
Now let me share my screen. So hello, everyone. So our project for OLS-7 is to develop a dedicated platform for the scientific community. So we have named our platform to be free, so which we intend to later develop into a startup. So my team includes Nishant, myself, Prem, and Siva Subramanian. We are from India, and our mentor is Harani Lakshmi Narayanan. So our vision is to develop a one-stop platform for the research community. So our platform will help students to connect with their professors with the simple ease of access, and at the same time, enjoy the perks of a social media too. So it will enable our users, the research community, to communicate freely without any prejudices. And it also helps them to nurture their overall interest in connecting and learning. So what is the problem that we face in current social media platform is that there are a lot of noise and disturbances. So it is very difficult for people from the scientific community or research community to share their opinions without being stabilized or without being labeled as a nerd or something else. So that is one of the major problems. So for that, we have developed, we are intent to develop a dedicated and a customized space where where the users can choose whom to interact with and what the content they wish to view and how to control their own content. So our platform primarily uses machine learning and AI to help in connecting process, and it will be more accurate than the current platforms which are available in the market. So this is just a representation of how our platform feed varies from the current social media like LinkedIn and ResearchGate. So primarily we'll be having customizable network, which means that you can change or you can view content what you want to view and how it is presented. And it'll be more responsiveness, and you'll be getting immediate connection, and you'll be getting immediate responses, which is very rare in ResearchGate, and in LinkedIn nowadays it is becoming quite rare. So in addition to all this, we also have funding opportunities where you can fund others, and you can also get help funding your own projects. And in future, we also we also plan to incorporate e-commerce section and for other futures as well. And our prime feature is a single click connection. So we will use several data sets and other information when you sign up, through which you can connect with your fellow peers or your research professors, scholars through a single click. That is one of our prime feature. So this is what our platform intends to do. So connect researchers, professors, and students, and you overall develop a community. So it also not only addresses your learning or connecting process, it also tends to address your physical and mental wellness and provide both formal and informal forums through which you can guide others in both in physical and mental wellness. So what is the progress? So during our OLS, we came up with a survey. So this survey helped us to understand the requirements of the scientific community and build features catering to their needs. Also in this process, we are registered our ID as a startup, and we are currently incorporated as a company in Ministry of Corporate Affairs, India. And we also bought our own domain, and we are currently starting the development process. So we are currently have completed the chat feature as well as a profile selection feature. So in our OLS journey, one of the most welcoming process was we get to have a fair idea of what is the gap prevailing in the current social media market and what we try to achieve. So with the help of other OLS projects, we also got a more useful insights and how technology can be harnessed to build an inclusive future. We went through other projects like curing the norms of gender inequality and all those things, which gave a fair idea of, okay, this is what this people are facing in the current scenario. So we intend to use technology to cater their needs. And apart from that, we also developed certain qualities like how to work as a team. Before OLS, we were more scattered because we used to join through online. But the OLS time track and schedule, our mentor, we all hoped up and we tried and we learned how to work as a team. So we understand our individual strengths and weaknesses and how to support each other during the tough times. So our next goal is to get in touch with the technical experts, because our domain, our platform requires a lot of machine learning and AI expertise. And as well as we need administrative people who can help us with all our company related filings and all those things. And the first for the process in the long term will be to develop our core feature and for the moment to beta stage in a couple of months. And we also intend to secure a first round of funding. So this is it. And we would like to thank our mentor, Harini Lakshmi Narayanan, because she was very supportive and very cooperative. She made us sit down and identify our lacunae and where we are missing it out. So we'd like to thank her well. And also the OLS community, the space and the time they have provided to us, and the micro grant which have enabled us to secure certain devices which we are in need of. So thanks for all the support we have received. And we also welcome your contributions. So we'll be giving out the link for a survey in the chat box. So please feel free to complete the survey. It will help us in a more build our features in an efficient way. And you can also reach us at our Gmail ID, free platform. Thanks.
Nishant, thank you so much. Everyone, can we have a great round of applause? Wow, actually managing to set yourselves up as a startup and register, that is big. What country are you registered in?
We are registered in India.
Amazing. I know a few people who probably will want to take tips from you, because they're having to register themselves in India, and they're learning about all the challenges around that. That is super, super exciting. And I've already filled the survey, or I would fill it right now. Don't worry.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Folks, any other questions that you wanted to ask? I'll bring in my question. So, any tips for team working? I love hearing when people say, hey, we've really learned how to work together as a team. If you had to boil that down to one or two quick tips that you think make a big difference, what would you say they would be?
So I would like to say that if one of your team members is held up with your work or something else, just try to empathize with them, because each one have their own kind of hardships and troubles they are facing. So just try to give them some time, extend or flexible deadlines will enable them to come in and quickly jump into the work. That is one thing we have learned. Another thing is we should be feeling like, okay, it is time. It is like we all need some space in a team. We should not pitch in our own ideas. We should not append our ideas upon others. We should give them a little bit space. It also improves our teamwork.
Thank you so much. I couldn't agree more. Paz, what's up?
Oh, I wanted to ask about the experience with GitHub. Curious, do you plan to keep using it, or maybe, yeah?
Yeah, Paz, like as of now, we don't have any plan of keep using it, because we are just opened a GitHub repository and stuff. Since we are planning it as a company, we will have to see the code of conduct and all the guidelines, because it might get proprietary stuffs we'll be involving in. So we are not yet quite well about how to use it.
Fair, fair. Okay, folks, last round of applause for Nishan, Prem, and Siva. And who's next? Let's have a look. And we have, scroll all the way up. Umut, are you here? Did we lose Umut? Ooh.
I think we did.
Let's loop back to them. Hopefully they can make it back. And the last person, Chukwuka, are you here? Ooh. Oh, no, you're here, Chuka, yeah? Hey, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, do you want to go take it away?
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Okay, share screen. And that is it. Share. All right, is it showing? Is my screen showing now?
Perfect. Yeah, you've got your 5 minutes starts now.
All right, thank you. My name is Chukwuka Uzamaka Obunna from Nigeria. I am presenting my projects on exploring the biodegradability of drilling fluids in different soil types. Okay, the drilling fluid is a lubricant. It's used in oil drilling for oil and gas wells, exploration rigs. From the picture we have here, the drilling fluid goes in and helps to lubricate the drill bits during lubrication process, during the drilling process. And it varies with different additives, and there are different types of drilling fluids. You have the oil-based drilling fluids, you have the water-based drilling fluid, the aqueous drilling fluid, you have the pneuma drilling fluid, which uses gases. All right, so the problem we have noticed in the environment is difficult to discharge or to sustainably dispose of the drilling fluids or the drilling mud, or what you call the drilling waste at the end of the drilling process. So what happens, the oil explorers have to send them to, if it is in the offshore, probably into the sea, but for onshore, into farms and abandoned sites. So this is the process of land throwing, where the drilling fluids are disposed of in probably unused farmlands, as you may see in the second picture here, or in large expanse of land. And when such is done, the land is condemned, probably cannot be used for agricultural purposes. What are we trying to do? We're trying to use biodegradation to explore diverse soil types. Is there a soil type whose physicochemical and microbial properties will improve the biodegradation of the petroleum hydrocarbons in the oil-based drilling fluids? What will happen at the end of our research is to suggest for policymakers and environmental legislatures on the better soil types for this biodegradation activity. And at the end of this suggests probable ways to achieve a cleaner and sustainable environment for food security and public safety. What have we done at the moment? We've created the project documentation, the GitHub repository page, and the GitHub repository, and then the pilot study of the project. Ongoing, the project is being, a website is being created for the project and other projects that may come through my laboratory as my research experience continues to grow. Then the laboratory setup for the soil types is ongoing at the moment. The soil types have been spiked with drilling fluid, toxicants, and we're also interacting with other high throughput laboratories where we'll carry out certain laboratory activities, certain analytical activities like the total hydrocarbon, total petroleum hydrocarbon capacity of the soils, and heavy metal analysis using the inductively coupled optical emission spectroscopy. We're also preparing solutions for the analysis that will carry out at the end of the exposure period. What are we going to do after the exposure period? We will carry out analytical procedures to measure total petroleum hydrocarbon reduction in the various soil types. We have 3 soil types we're using. We will also analyze for enzyme activity and microbial growth monitoring and identification of the microbes, and also identification of possible novel enzymes. Results were published in environmental science journals and also presented at conferences. There's a conference I have also put in for in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, by the early week of October, where I'll present my findings. We'll also interact with systematically interact with stakeholders whose activities may be influenced by our results. We're also open to collaborations and sponsorship, especially to advance the analysis in terms of genomics and metagenomics for identification of novel microbes and enzymes. In how has OLS helped in this activity? We've been able to grow in open leadership in project design, roadmap definition, reproducible workflows, and code of conduct. We have also been able to create GitHub repositories in order to make sure that our project is open to scrutiny and interaction by stakeholders and other contributors. We also learned what it means actually to participate in open science, the willingness to make our research contribution and observe data open to community of contributors, expanding the channel of contribution by the community through various documentations. Organize personal ecology in order to reason with clarity of purpose and maintain a decent mental health. This is a skill being developed from some of the trainings we went through during the program. So we've been able to create README files, canvas, and a roadmap. We've also been able to create code of conduct and license as a way to guide contributors and stakeholders. We're also creating a mountain of engagement to carry everyone along with what we've done and what we are also doing currently. We will make it easy for anyone else to see and appreciate the research work through unlimited channel of contributions. We've been able to make our GitHub repository public and not private. And this is made possible because of our interaction with the OLS team. It's true that I have a GitHub account previously, but I didn't really develop the skills to make use of the account until I joined OLS. And I also continue to expand my skills, especially in data science activities, so that I will also make use of my GitHub skills. So it's a wholesome experience in terms of interacting with globally minded individuals who are working to make open science mindset accessible to players in every part of the globe. We also appreciate the great motivation and accountability provided generally and specifically, provided generally by the program and specifically by our mentor, Stefan Fadanka, right. The exposure to the program has helped me develop my ally skills and science ethics understanding concerning plagiarism and authorship. Other trainings that we pass through are also open hardware and open software, concept of diversity in knowledge as a benefit of open science, open leadership in academia, industry, and others. These are presentations that were made by various members of the community at one time or the other during the exposure. We appreciate open science, life science. The organizing team, I won't be able to mention all of you one after the other. And I also thank especially the financial team also that helped provide some of the resources that helped me to acquire some of the materials that strengthened my participation in the program. All regards to all experts who contributed in one way or the other, who have contributed in one way or the other towards developing this initiative. We appreciate the all OLS community everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I absolutely loved the list of different skills that you've been able and new concepts that you had been introduced to. And also, ooh, some of those photos were disgusting. What are we doing when we're drilling? I'm glad that you're figuring out ways to like what's biodegradable and ways to look after this stuff when we're drilling and not just discharge the waste without thinking about it. It's really special to see projects that are working to actually improve the entire world. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to propose or ask? Can I just get you to unshare your screen, Chuka? Beautiful. Okay, I think we're going to go to our last presentation. Do we have Umut? Did we lose Umut again? Oh
Yes,
no.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Oh, panic. Yay. Okay. All right, over to you, my friend.
Yes,
Last but
okay.
definitely not least.
I'll share my screen now. And here it is. Are you watching my screen?
We can. It looks beautiful. Take it away.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My project is called Querying the North, and it's consisting how it came from a question in how to make artificial intelligence. We acquire perspective from the majority of the world. Well, I am Humo Pájaro Velázquez. I'm from Cartagena, Colombia. I study communication studies and also have a master in cultural studies. Right now, I'm working on an AI researcher and also the chair of the Internet Society Gender Standing Group. So being involved in these gender issues and AI issues is part of my everyday life. So that's probably why I decided to make this project. I'm presenting here in November 6th. What I decided to make it this project as para open science. Well, for me, it's easy to answer this because I want to have like a, sorry. I want that I believe that artificial intelligence should be accessible and inclusive, transparent, and accountable. So when you have open science, you can have that by default. Also, I believe that ethics and fairness also should be involved on all the process, on all the AI cycle, because without all these six principles, for me, AI couldn't be centered in exactly the people, that us, the users. So that's why mainly why I choose open science as the way to address this specific project or this specific issue. Also because it's a way to find collaboration and knowledge sharing and create community through engagement and empowerment. And also addressing the biases and discrimination that could face the population that I'm studying here, that is mostly gender diverse people from the majority of the world. And it's a guarantee, as I said before, that the AI has this human-centered approach. That is the most important part here for me. Not only have a technical approach to AI or a regulatory approach to AI, but mostly a human-centered approach. Yeah. This project started with a community. That community is the gender diverse people from the majority of the world. The problem with this community is the lack of representation and embedded codification of those different genders that are in the majority of the world into the development of new policies and technology related to artificial intelligence. So the solution that I proposed for that was a gender design development framework that allows to combine most of the concepts and perspectives from of gender beyond the binary, for example, from the majority of the world. How we can do this, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I get some answer during the process that I'm going to explain right now. Oh. Let's see. Oh, well. We can see it this way. Well, my journey started with using always for new technologies because, as I said before, there is no data related to, or there is no data or methodology related on how to compile data or how to compile data for gender diversity from the majority of the world. So I had to record to all the usual ways to compile this information. For example, I had to make a first approach through observation, then also to make interviews, to make surveys in order to compile all the information and all the data that I needed to start seeing how gender is represented in the community that I choose that I choose, or better, I was invited to be part of during the time of this project. That is a community of people that are indigenous that is living they are living close to the city that I am, and right now that is Cartagena, Colombia. The community has a non-binary understanding of gender, so they invite me to be there and visit them several times and to compile the information on how they understand gender. But for me, as I say here, there is not only for me the information that I get was only data, was also the stories behind that. So when we get the story behind that, we understand better how gender is portrayed inside these communities, and also have a better understanding of things like or the language that we should use to express that, to how the gender roles are inside the community, and also how the gender expression is, or another stuff related with the social aspects of gender are being inside of those communities or that specific culture or that specific culture. So that's why I put here that I had to use a mixture of techniques and tools, also a transdisciplinary and multi-stakeholder approach, because I had to ask people from different disciplines and different disciplines how to create that language that unify in some way what I was getting from the field into academia, and also translate it to policy and then trying to get it to technical standard at the same time. It's hard, and I realized during this that this is going to take me more time that is actually 6 months to get there, but it's possible to get there with the less bias if we get like a common ground in the language, because I realized there is a problem in the language, mainly in these cases. And also another thing that I realized here is that if I want to engage to a community, that I want to collaborate and allow them to collaborate with me, I have to create a report that can invite others to contribute to the research next steps. So the language that I had to use has to came also from this narrative that were around what the people say during my experience visiting and staying in the community. The first conclusion that I get.
Can I just get you to wrap up in 60 seconds, just so we have time to close the call before the half hour? Gracias.
Yes, I'm going to do it. The first stage that I get is that gender is a self-constructed identity trait based on the number of gender, expression, representation, and gender social roles, the culture where it is, and the name or concept proposed as the gender markers or on others created by the community where the people are living. So in a way that can help here, OpenSci is to find methodologies that to shape meaningful participation and inclusion needed for the gender diverse people in the majority of the world in order to make it part of the process of design, develop, deploy, and audit artificial intelligence technologies. Because it's not only to understand how they constructed the identity, but also make it part in a meaningful way of all the designing, development, deployment, and auditing of these technologies. The next steps, as I said, this is a work in progress, probably it's going to take a lot, is to create a repository or a page with the complete description of the project that allows to create a community that can also bring new gender perspective from the majority world, and how to include on the law and technical standard with less bias outcome possible, and find new ways to create meaningful participation in all the stages of the artificial intelligence cycle, and also in the policymaking process for people outside the gender binary. And thank you to you, the amazing team, for this opportunity, because it actually allowed me a lot to advance in this investigation more than any time before that, because I had that in my table for around 2 years until now was I decided to do something about it. And also, gracias Paz por toda la paciencia que me tuviste durante estos meses. Also, gracias to my amazing mentor and understanding mentor, Milagros Miceli. She helped me a lot to giving me the right questions and putting me into doubt every time because that helped me to make a better project. And I want to finalize with this phrase that I found really right for what I'm doing now. Is an individual sexual and gender identity, especially for LGBTQI people, cannot be understood as sex or static physical data points. Traditional notions of demographic data do not allow for the fluidity and multiplicity of gender and sexual identities that characterize the lived experience of many LGBTQI people. Robert and Ruelos, 2020. So that would be all. Thank you. And yeah.
Woohoo! What a beautiful presentation to finish on. That really, really speaks to me. I was just, I don't know if you could see, probably because you were presenting, but I was just pulling out quotes from your slides like, oh, I love this phrase. Oh, I love this. It was really, really nice. Also, we need to catch up with you, Umut, because some of the OLS team is working on a grant to inform policy around widening participation for beyond the traditional people. And it sounds exactly like what you've just been talking about. We will hit you up. But that said, we are 1 minute over time. So everyone, one final beautiful round of applause, not just for Umut, but for yourselves and for Paz, who has been tirelessly working, and people behind the scenes like Camille, who is our executive assistant, and for Malvika, and for Berenice, and for Emmy, and our web developers. We have Debs, who was both a cohort member and web developer. We have Jilaga, who was working on all of the rebranding, which you've beautifully shown on your slides in these presentations. And I'm terrified I'm going to miss someone. Tajruddin, who recently joined the team. And if I've missed anyone, I'm going to cry and die now. But we love you all so much. This has been such a great journey, and I'm so proud to see everything you've learned and accomplished. And I'll just finish with a reminder: look after yourselves. We care because we want to change the world. And we can't change the world if we can't look after ourselves. So go take a pat on your back, eat some ice cream, have a nap, do whatever makes you feel whole, and have a beautiful day. I love you all. Bye, everyone. Okay.
Oh, ciao, I'm ending the meeting. Bye.